Imagine standing before a warrior over 3 meters tall, a man covered in bronze armor, a champion who had never lost a battle. Now imagine his opponent, not a soldier, not a king, just a teenage shepherd carrying 5 smooth stones. Yet before the sun set, the giant would be dead. This is the incredible story of David and Goliath. Welcome to Bible Journey. Long before the famous duel between David and Goliath, the land of Israel was already consumed by war. Around the 11th century BC, the kingdom of Israel faced one of its greatest enemies, the Philistines. The Philistines were far more than ordinary raiders. They were a powerful military people who controlled much of the Mediterranean coastline. Their cities were wealthy, their armies were well-trained, and they possessed advanced iron weapons at a time when iron technology was still rare in the region. To the east, the Israelites occupied the hill country under the rule of King Saul, Israel's first king. Between these two rivals lay a series of valleys and strategic passes that connected the coastal plains with the mountains. One of those places was the Valley of Elah. Whoever controlled this valley could move armies deep into enemy territory. Losing it could expose entire cities to invasion. As tensions escalated, both nations gathered their forces there. The Philistine army occupied one hillside. The Israelites stood on another. Between them stretched the valley floor, a wide-open battlefield that neither side dared to cross. Charging downhill would leave an army exhausted and vulnerable before reaching the enemy. One reckless attack could end in disaster. So for days, the two armies remained locked in a deadly stalemate. Thousands of soldiers waited. Spears and shields stood ready, but no battle began. Then the Philistines changed the rules. Instead of risking a full-scale war, they sent out their greatest champion. A single warrior would fight on behalf of an entire nation. Victory would decide the fate of both armies. His name, Goliath. According to the biblical account, Goliath stood 6 cubits and a span tall. Depending on the ancient manuscript, historians estimate his height somewhere between 2 and 3 meters, or even taller according to traditional interpretations. He towered over every man on the battlefield. His body was protected by a heavy bronze helmet and a scale armor weighing roughly 55 kilograms. Bronze greaves covered his legs. A bronze javelin hung across his back. In one hand, he carried a massive spear whose iron spearhead alone weighed around 7 kilograms. His booming voice echoed across the valley.
"Choose one man to come down and fight me. If he kills me, we will become your servants. But if I kill him, you shall become ours."
Day after day, morning and evening, for 40 days, Goliath repeated the same challenge. Every insult cut deeper. Every unanswered challenge shattered Israel's confidence. King Saul remained silent. His soldiers lowered their eyes. No one dared to face the giant. Until someone completely unexpected arrived at the battlefield. A shepherd arrives. Far from the battlefield, life went on as usual in the small town of Bethlehem. There lived a young shepherd named David, the youngest son of Jesse. Unlike his older brothers, David was not a soldier. To most people, he was just another village boy. When King Saul called the men of Israel to war, David's 3 eldest brothers joined the army. David stayed behind to care for his father's sheep. Then one morning, Jesse gave his youngest son a simple task: take food to his brothers. see how they are doing, and bring back news from the battlefield. When David arrived at the valley of Elah, he found both armies lining up for battle. The war horns sounded. Soldiers shouted their battle cries, yet no one moved. As David greeted his brothers, a familiar voice thundered across the valley. Goliath stepped forward and repeated his challenge, mocking the armies of Israel and insulting the God they worshipped. Almost instantly, fear spread through the Israelite camp. Seasoned soldiers backed away. Veteran warriors lowered their heads. No one dared answer. David stood frozen for a moment. He looked from the giant to the terrified soldiers surrounding him. Then he asked a question that no one else seemed willing to ask.
Who is this Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?
The men around him were stunned. To them, Goliath was unbeatable. To David, he was simply another man. And for the first time in 40 days, someone was no longer afraid. The news soon reached King Saul. David was brought before the king. Saul looked at the young man standing before him and could hardly believe what he was hearing.
You are not able to fight this Philistine. You are only a youth, and there's been a warrior since his youth.
From every human perspective, Saul was right. Goliath had spent his entire life preparing for war. David had spent his tending sheep. But David saw his past very differently. He replied,
When a lion or a bear came and carried off one of the sheep, I went after it. I struck it, rescued the sheep from its mouth, and if it turned against me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine.
Those words changed everything. Saul realized that no argument would change David's mind. Finally, he nodded.
Go, and may the Lord be with you.
Before David left, Saul offered him his own bronze armor. It was the finest protection a king could provide. Soldiers carefully placed the heavy breastplate over David's shoulders. A bronze helmet rested upon his head. A sword was fastened to his side. David tried to walk. One step, then another. The armor was too heavy, too unfamiliar, too restrictive. David stopped. He removed the helmet, untied the sword, lifted off the armor. He would not fight like a soldier. Instead, David picked up only what he knew best. A shepherd's staff, a leather sling, and as he walked toward the nearby stream, he bent down and selected 5 smooth stones. The entire army watched in silence. No armor, no shield, no sword, just a shepherd walking toward a giant. The valley fell silent. Thousands of soldiers watched as the two figures slowly moved toward one another. On one side stood Goliath, a giant covered in bronze from head to toe. On the other stood a shepherd carrying nothing more than a wooden staff, a leather sling, and 5 smooth stones.
You come to me with sticks. Am I a dog? Come here, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field.
You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands.
Without hesitation, David began to run. He reached into his bag, took out a single smooth stone, and placed it into his sling. The leather cord spun faster and faster. Then he released. The stone struck Goliath square in the forehead. The giant staggered and crashed to the ground. David rushed forward. drew Goliath's own sword and defeated him. The Philistine army broke into panic and fled. Against all odds, a young shepherd had defeated the mightiest warrior on the battlefield and changed history forever. As Goliath fell, panic spread through the Philistine ranks. Their undefeated champion was gone. What had begun as a duel quickly became a full-scale retreat. The Israelites charged across the valley, chasing the fleeing Philistine army all the way to the gates of Gath and Ekron. Against every expectation, Israel had won. More than 3,000 years later, the phrase David versus Goliath is still used around the world. It has become a symbol of ordinary people overcoming impossible odds. Whether in sports, business, politics, or everyday life, the story continues to inspire millions.